From unconstitutional gun laws to the deporting of illegal immigrants to irreversible procedures for minor children, the court system in America seems to be getting it wrong an awful lot lately, more than they're getting it right. And today I'm going to tell you about a couple of decisions that happened in courts in red states this last week that are very, very bad, very dangerous for American citizens. Hey, everybody, I'm Julie Barrett, and I'm the founder of Conservative Ladies of America. Thanks for joining me today. I want to tell you about two decisions that were made in court this last week that are really, really dangerous for children in America. And it's really critical that we, as concerned citizens, especially if you're parents or grandparents, or you just believe that children should be protected, we need to pay attention to this and we need to engage in some level of government. It is really critical that more than just watching content, consuming content on social media, that citizens are stepping into the ring and engaging in their government on some level. There's some way that every person can plug in. Even if you only have a couple minutes a day or a week, there's something that everyone can do. So let's dive in. First, we're going to start in Montana. A couple of years ago, the Montana legislature passed Senate Bill 99, which bans so-called gender-affirming care for minor children under the age of 18 years old. This is puberty blockers, cross-sex hormones, any kind of so-called gender-affirming surgery. It was signed into law by Montana Governor Greg Gianforte in 2023, and he is a Republican governor. And of course, the Montana legislature is a Republican majority. This is a huge win, but of course, we've got the left in Montana that has been working hard ever since the law was passed to fight it and to overturn it. And on Tuesday, May 13th, they got a ruling from Judge Jason Marks, a permanent injunction from enforcing Senate Bill 99. In his ruling, the judge said, "The court is forced to conclude that the state's interest is actually a political and ideological one, ensuring minors in Montana are never provided treatment to address their perception that their gender or sex is something other than their sex assigned at birth. In other words, the state's interest is actually blocking transgender expression." The judge in this case, Jason Marks, was appointed in 2019 by Governor Bullock, who is a Democrat. It's really critical to note how the left has been able to capture a lot of the judicial system. And when these leftist politicians are appointing leftist activist judges, they're often appointed for life or they get appointed to a vacancy, and it makes it very difficult for someone else to challenge them. The legal system is extremely corrupt, and it is very easy for these leftists to get into these judicial positions, and then they're able to facilitate the leftist agenda. It's also noteworthy that Montana is one of the few states with a male who calls himself a woman. Zoe Zephyr was elected to the Montana legislature in 2022 and was reelected in 2024. I haven't done any digging into that particular race. I don't know if there was even a Republican on the ballot. It strikes me as odd that Montana wouldn't push back against this type of person being in the lawmaking process who is obviously pushing a very ideological agenda into the state lawmaking process. We have a lot of people from Washington State, where we got our start, who have moved to Montana because it is a red state and they're doing a lot of things, a lot of good things in their state legislature to keep Montana free. Here, though, is a situation where you have these activist judges that are working against the laws that have been put in place. And one thing I think is interesting to note is in blue states such as Washington or California, where you have the passage of these very unconstitutional, anti-American, anti-Second Amendment laws that get passed, they get tied up in court for long, long time. There are laws in Washington that got passed several years ago that are still tied up in the judicial system. And so we've still got these unconstitutional laws on the books in these blue states. But look at how quick the turnaround was for Senate Bill 99, which was only passed in 2023. And the judge issues a permanent injunction, no trial needed. Here is my final finding. So, therefore, Senate Bill 99 cannot be enforced in Montana. I cannot stress strongly enough how critical it is for us as citizens to be involved at a local level. Part of why we've been able to get this far is because most of us, myself included, have sat back and haven't really been paying attention and haven't even been engaged in this process. And it's critical that we step up and speak up in some way. Now, switching gears a little bit, I'm going to take you to Naples, Florida, which is about 90 minutes south of where I live in Sarasota. In 2023, the Florida State Legislature passed a law that prohibits drag shows for minors. And this year, Naples Pride has sued the city of Naples, and they actually won. The judge ruled that they can go ahead and have their family-friendly drag show next month in June for their celebration of Pride Month. Now, look at this photo from the Naples Pride drag show of the past. You can see that there are children on stage with the drag performer. Why is it so important for these people to expose children to these drag shows? If they don't have any kind of grooming intentions, then they don't need to have children present at these shows. And so what they're saying is that the law is against their First Amendment right to have freedom of expression. This is going to be an outdoor event that will be for all ages. The Naples City Council actually met on Friday to take a vote about appealing this judge's decision, and the vote did pass, so they will be making an appeal on this decision. It's also noteworthy that Florida Attorney General James Othmeyer, who I absolutely love, he is a complete bulldog. He's going after all the issues very hard. He has also said that his office will be addressing this and getting into this fight as well. We get comments on all of our social media platforms all the time about when an unconstitutional bill passes that, oh, can't wait for the courts to shoot this down. And I think it's really important for us to take a look at what's been happening over the last several years and even over the last few months, now that Trump has come into office and he's made these executive orders for things such as deporting illegal immigrants and banning so-called gender-affirming care for minor children. And already the courts are shooting this down and putting in injunctions so that they're not able to move forward with this. We have got a judicial system that has been fully captured by the left. And the only way to change it is for citizens en masse to be engaged. And we have to understand that it's not going to turn around right away. This is a marathon, not a sprint. It's like turning the Titanic, except maybe the Titanic's not the right example since the Titanic did sink and we don't want to be on the Titanic. We all have to get involved. We all have to pay attention. And especially when there are elections coming up, and this year, 2025, it's an off year for elections, but there are a lot of local elections happening across the country that citizens need to be engaged in. Maybe it's a school board race or a city or county council race that you can plug into and help a solid candidate in your area get elected. We've got to start bringing balance and common sense back to our government systems at every level of government. I've got links in the description of the video if you want to go dig into both of these cases a little deeper and see what's going on in Montana, what's going on in Naples. I will be sure to bring you an update on these cases if things swing back towards common sense. I know that would be a great update I would love to bring to you. I would love to hear your comments about this. Please share your thoughts or your questions below. I do try to read and respond to as many comments as I possibly can. So I love engaging with you. It's fun to talk to all of you guys. And for the most part, we get really respectful and interesting comments. So please do keep it up. We appreciate you. If you haven't already, please do subscribe to our YouTube channel and to our Substack, as that is the best way to get breaking alerts and calls to action. Be sure to share this video with your friends, and thank you so much for watching. I look forward to seeing you in the next video.